Hey guys, it's your host of the chomp Daily again. I hope you guys are doing well. I coming to you once again with another video. I know it's been a couple days and I do sincerely apologize. I'm not trying to upload an unorganized upload schedule, but I wanted to bring more videos to you rapidly now than later. Just because I've been moving recently and on Twitter. If you haven't been following Twitter, please go ahead and follow the Twitter just so you get updates. Usually I just post about my upcoming videos. I'm going to be on there more proactive. Also with the Twitch almost being ready, I'm going to go ahead and get that set up very soon as well. But I've been moving. I'm finally moved in. There's still some stuff I gotta unpack, but for the most part the computer and everything set up, and I honestly think we are all ready to go. But I had a whole bunch of videos I wanted to upload that I had within the works. I had a couple scripts brought up, and this video I wanted to make first because there's been a lot of news that I've not been anticipating to come out so quickly. Just come out quickly. So we're going to go over quite a bit today, from Pokemon to even a sooner release date with the Nintendo Switch 2. And then throughout the week I'm going to upload way more. Especially with me having the internet and everything set up here. It feels good to be in not only a bigger house, but a fresh, newer house. So with that being said, we can get started. As always, remember to like and subscribe just so you guys can keep following me along. And I appreciate you guys getting me to over 100 subscribers. Our new goal is 500, so let's see what we can do there. But with all of the side chatter away, let's get started off with this 4chan post. Now, I've always said take 4chan posts with a grain of salt. You always should be. Now, I'm not saying that 4chan cannot be valuable, because there's been a couple of instances. Actually, there's been a decent collection of instances where 4chan has predicted stuff or has actually completely leaked something. But as always, take a grain of salt with really many of these rumors. It's all up for interpretation and all up for really Nintendo to also confirm them. So with that being said, let's get started off with the top. It just really starts off with saying that the game is in the future. It's just a lot of the characters are older versions of themselves. They said that Emma is in charge of the Looker Bureau, but Callum and Serena, which are the two characters you chose in X or Y, are now found in the game, but they're older. We'll see about that, because obviously the characters we play as are not them. That's not them. Now, Tierno, Trevor, and Shauna are supposedly within the game as well, but they're older. They said about middle age, which if this is in like a few years in the future, they're not going to be like middle-aged adults. I don't know what that means. There are a couple grammatical errors, so I'm not going to assume that they don't know what they're talking about. There may just be a language barrier, but I don't know. But I don't think they're going to be middle-aged. That one sets me aback a bit. Now, they go on to say that Jet is the younger sister of Malva, which is interesting to say. She is an ace with a flying type Pokemon and is the villain, but not the big bad one. So that's believable. I mean, I could see it. I always thought she was maybe like the full-on villain, but the more I look at it, it looks like she's part of something bigger. And that's all she is. She's just a pawn, or she's just a driving force instead of the one pushing. He says that she forces Pokemon into containment zones, not because she wants to create a better Lumiose, but because she wants to use their energy to Mega Evolve Alpha Zygarde. Which is interesting. Alpha Zygarde, that sounds interesting to me, because I have been open to the possibility that the A just means a different version of Zygarde, and that's completely possible. There may not even be a second legendary, and it's just a different version of Zygarde, which it's all but confirmed, almost. It's not fully confirmed yet, but with how much that they're emphasizing on Zygarde, there has to be something, coming abroad with that. So it goes on to say that Alpha Zygarde is a form variation of Zygarde. Oh my god, I can't even say that word. I assume he says irritated with, irradiated with Quasar energy. I was like, what? I swear to God that said like irritate. I'm like, what are you talking about? But anyways, Alpha Zygarde is sending out sparks of energy at night, mega evolving Pokemons and making them mad. Sometimes like this post is making me a little bit weary just because it starts off with great sentence structure and ends off as if like a 3-year-old made it. I mean, as a college-educated man, I'm not here to lecture. I'm just saying that it's just there's some spottiness to this, and we'll get that in a second. Now it says no gym system. There is no gym system, but there is a zone captain system that makes you go through the next level of containment zones, which I'm going to assume is going to be like Sun and Moon, with the Kahunas and all that. Just with them being like heads of those sections of the game. Now it says, unlike Pokemon Legends Arceus, when you reach a certain Quasar level, you get a promotion match with one of the captains. That is basically a mission to go on through the story, which again, like, I'm not saying that this is out of the picture, and I could see it because Legends ZA, or just the Legends games in general, just follow a different format than the regular games. They're almost like the exact games, but there's definitely a different format to them. And the good thing I like about the Legends game, especially now with this one, is it's almost feeling a lot more traditional. Like, there's going to be enough differences, but you're going to be able to treat it like it's a regular Pokemon game. You can go to the Poke Center, and get money to, buy Pokeballs and such. So I'm really looking forward to something like this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it is an interesting thought. Now it says riding Pokemon will return, but have different effects than Legends Arceus. For example, Dark Flying, divergent evolution of the regional variant Zubat Dark Flying, called Antigribat. I don't know how I feel about that. For gliding only, and is the first trailer. Well, it says in the first trailer was deleted in the animation. Function to BOTW, 7 new Pokemons, 5 Poke Rides, and 2 new Legendaries. Okay, so I guess we are getting 2 new Legendaries according to this. 29 regional variants and 17 new Megas. First off, that's a lot to unpack. And also, it's almost kind of hard to read this because it seems that there's a lot of like weird grammatical errors, which again, I'm not going to hate on for that. That doesn't mean that it's not credible. But Antigribat. That's just, I don't know how I feel about that name, but knowing Pokemon, that would honestly be something that they may do. So honestly, I'm still going to take it with a grain of salt like the rest of you should, but Nintendo and Game Freak would do something like that. I can just foresee them doing it. But 7 new Pokemon, including 5 Poke Rides, is very possible. 2 new Legendaries is also very possible. I just don't know what those 2 new Legendaries would be. And then down here, it says the starters have a regional variant due to the fact that you're forcing them into a new environment, which that is actually a good comparison to what what can happen within the real world when you force a new species to a new one and how they have to adapt. And that's not really against it. So we see that we get Water Ghost for Alligator, which, what did I tell you? I predicted either Water Poison or Water Ghost. It was mainly Water Poison, but I can see it being Water Ghost. But supposedly Meganeum's getting Grass Poison, which, I mean, I wouldn't be angry about it, but it's like I really want Meganeum to have that fairy, and we'll definitely see what happens. And Fire Psychic for Emboar, which that's actually an interesting combo, and I'd love to see that. But we'll have to see. Now I'm going to see if those get Megas. But it says down here that they don't get Megas at all. But I'm not kidding. If they do not get Megas, I feel that the community is going to be pissed. And personally, I would too. I mean, this is a game that's very much based around Mega Evolution. If you're going to give us regional variants, then you better give us some Mega Evolutions with it too. And maybe it's only these regional variants that get the Megas. Just because they've been exposed to that energy to where their new forms allow them to become Megas. Which I think that would be a really cool concept. But them not giving them Megas definitely sets me back a little bit. But again, we gotta take it with a grain of salt. 17 new megas. That's very possible. I mean, when they gave us megas before, you know, they gave us quite. I mean, we have quite a bit already. But down here it says, you know, there's megas for the Kalos starters, which I could foresee. Stunfisk and Delcatty. Why would Delcatty and Stunfisk get megas? I mean, I could see Stunfisk, oddly. Because Stunfisk, ever since Galar, has gotten a little bit more notoriety, oddly enough. But Delcatty, that's like one of the most forgettable Pokemon, so, I mean, maybe this will help it not be forgettable, but I don't know. Alpha Zygarde, which I want to have, you know, happen, and then Meowstic, which is different for 2 genders, which will have its own megas, which I can foresee in Jinx, which we have had Jinx hinted to having a mega, or at least it was planned to, but they just never went with it. So we'll have to see. So let me know down in the comments, like, what you think about this. What do you think is exactly going to happen, you know, with these new megas, supposedly. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. I'm not going to, you know, slander it or say anything bad, but there's some stuff in here that I agree with, I can foresee happening. There's just some stuff I just don't think is very likely, is all. But with that being said, I'm going to go into just some stuff with the Nintendo 2 real quick. So it goes from the Switch 2 stock. It says, you know, the new Switch 2 game info, Ruffy and the Riverside, is announced for the Nintendo Switches for June 26, 2025. Definitely Switch 2 is releasing before 2026. Oh, not 2026, sorry, June 26th. It's definitely releasing before 2026, but it's going to release before June 26th of 2025. I mean, I could foresee it just because of this alone. As one of the best platformers of 2025, Ruffy and the Riverside announces June 26th release date on PC and consoles. And then it goes around Nintendo Switches, specifically multiple. So again, we may get the Nintendo Switch 2 before June 26th, or it'll come out later than that. I foresee it coming out in August. I think they're going to get out these games, you know, for a couple weeks before they release the Nintendo Switch 2. So when they do release it, they have a whole bunch of games that you can play on it. I think it's just wise that way. I understand that the Nintendo Switch 2 is essentially going to be doing what the DSs have done with the backwards compatibility with the games, which, thank God, that means we can save our stuff. Which I personally think is huge. Now we'll have to see if we'll be able to transfer like our digital download games onto it, which I foresee is happening, since they said that all games, no matter their platform on the Switch, whether it be like physical or digital, will be safe. So again, we'll have to see how they handle that. But I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, it isn't out of you know, the woods yet. And we go on to this that goes about the Nintendo Switch 2 again. As on April 2nd, you know, we're getting a Nintendo Direct with the Nintendo Switch 2. And then it says, you know, Fact 17, the Legend of Zelda franchise created by Shigeru Miyamoto, debuted in 1986, introduced open world exploration into the game. So we're probably going to get a whole bunch of like new upcoming games for Zelda, Mario, obviously. You know, maybe we'll get other games. I know people have been talking about possibly like another Splatoon game coming up. I'm pretty sure that was hinted at. I don't keep up with that with like the Splatoon, because I do play mostly Pokemon and Legends of Zelda. Which you guys want to see me stream Legends of Zelda, let me know down in the comments, and I will gladly play that game for you guys. Well, all of the games. It's just not one game, but all of them. And also, there's some older Legends of Zelda games with the Nintendo Plus, you know, account stuff that you can get, you know, with the Game Boy and Nintendo 64 and all that. That I already have downloaded on my Switch. But with that being said, I wanted to spotlight this just so you guys know that on April 2nd, which is coming up here soon, which is in actually 12 days exactly, we are going to be getting this Nintendo Direct, and this is going to show off a lot. And I do even think that they're going to hint at Pokemon. I think that they're going to show off Legends ZA just briefly, just so we know that, hey, it's also going to be on the Switch too. And I also believe this is where they're going to give out a pre-order date. And this is where I'm going to start telling you guys about where you can pre-order, and I will directly tell you the best ways to pre-order these kind of games and game systems. I know that I'm going to pre-order it, because once this thing's available, I'm going to pre-order it. And supposedly it can come with up to 1 terabyte within it, supposedly. Or we can add it, which if that's the case, I will definitely buy one myself. So definitely stay tuned for that. Now we're just going to go through Soul Silver art here. It's just really talking about Lysandre. Soul Silver art just says, will Lysandre reappear in Legends ZA? We know he fired the ultimate weapon on itself, and he was seemingly buried in the rubble alongside with it. In X, the weapon is meant to give life, and it's Y, it's meant to destroy. These are two distinct timelines, and we don't know which timeline ZA takes place in. And that's very true. If it's Y timeline, then maybe Lysandre was extremely wounded by the blast and had to be rebuilt as a cyborg Vinny, which that would be odd. Or it's X timeline, maybe in the same way. AZ became immortal after firing the weapon. Lysandre also gained immortality from being exposed to the energy of the blast. Which I think, because again, we're obviously going to get both legendaries in this game, like X and Yveltal and Xerneas. But I feel that it's going to be in the X timeline just because it makes sense. Because I feel that AZ is going to have a bigger role there, because AZ is going to be like, okay, I need to stop Lysandre because now he has what I have, but he's going to use this ability to be immortal to abuse it and to hurt the Pokemon world. So I think this is where AZ will come in. And again, there's been a big hint that AZ has a sacrifice he's going to make, and we don't know if he's actually going to sacrifice himself. But if he does, I think this would be how he does it. To prevent the abuse of the immortality and the weapon again. Which would be a emotional situation. But again, if you saw, the game is rated everyone 10+, which is the highest a Pokemon game has had in quite a while. I think actually ever. In fact, it was actually ever. So with that being said, there's going to be a little bit more darker themes, which also makes me excited for the Catacombs, but also just because there may be more upsetting and heart-wrenching stuff happening within the game, such as AZ possibly dying. So I don't want that to happen, but I think it would be an interesting addition. But it goes on to say that but it's also possible that no matter which timeline, Lysandre could have still become immortal, like AZ, by just coming into contact with the energy from the ultimate weapon. I say this because this is what happened to AZ in the Y timeline as well as the X. Even though in Y the weapon is meant to solely destroy, AZ coming into contact with it gives him immortality, which that's also true. So it could be either one. Which is I didn't really think about that. That is true. So we'll definitely see how that goes. But Soul goes on to say, so Vinny could be an immortal Lysandre in disguise, unless also, like AZ, there could be side effects of being exposed to the energy, like AZ's hair turning white and his continual growth and height. AZ's hair was brown when he fired the weapon, but when we see him later, his hair is white. But with that being said, when he became immortal, obviously he wouldn't age, but his hair still turned white. But then it says it should stay the same color. It was the moment he became immortal. Maybe he was just older then, when he fired it. So we don't know if that's the case, but we'll have to see. But again, you have to also look at how big he is as well. Look at him, like that's a normal sized Pokeball. That's a normal sized Pokeball. He's bigger than Yao Ming. I mean, bro is bigger than Yao Ming, man. no contest. But I feel like Lysander's going to make an appearance to the game, or he'll have like some type of cameo, like, you know, either it'll be, which again, that could also be like a darker tone, is that, you know, we go to the destroyed rubble, and, you know, like maybe Jet is like, you know, below us is the tomb of Lysander, but before he died, he left all of this stuff, and like, you know, like she's using it, you know, to better, in her mind, you know, the world and the city of Lumios, and, you know, just something dark, you know, like, you know, everywhere you walk, you're walking above the decomposed body of Lysander, which is really dark, but that's very possible to where he's just dead. I mean, brother could just be dead, and we're just, you know, she's just using, like, you know, Jet is just going to use everything that he left behind. And maybe, you know, Jet is his daughter or something, you know, who knows? Or maybe even his sister, you know, we have no clue. But I hope Lysander does make an appearance, at least like physically, like maybe he has come back, you know, and he has like the white hair like AZ, and he's just immortal now. Or maybe Jet's whole plan is use energy to either revive Lysander or to get him out. Like maybe he's alive, but he's trapped under the rubble. Who knows? But you know, it's all up for interpretation. There's a lot of what ifs, and I think Lysander remaking a return in some shape or form would just be appropriate, considering that, you know, when he did, you know, supposedly meet his end, you know, we never got to really see if that's what actually happened to him. We just know that it wasn't pretty. Everything fell on top of him. You know, anything could happen. Now it goes on to say, you know, this could be poetic because Lysander's relative. Well, Lysander's a relative of AZ. For him to suffer the same fate for making the same mistake that you know, that he did, cursed and ponder the L he took in X and Y for thousands of years lifetime. Which again, that's also something. Maybe he's trapped like under there, immortal, and he's just there, just sitting in his anger just because he took that L in X and Y. And it says maybe he just died in the rubble of the ultimate weapon, which is what I said, and maybe they're going to try to find a way to revive him. And again, this is all up for interpretation. But the last thing I want to get over is just a little bit small. More so just because I think it's Mega Bricks or whatever. They're gonna have a competitor now, and Lego specifically. Because as Essential Leaks has shown, this is actually a official trailer. Finally, Pokemon will get its very first official Lego set in 2026 for the 30th anniversary. Which finally. Now, don't get me wrong. Okay? Like the Mega Brick set, you know, I even made some of the Pokemon, you know, Lego sets that are with like the Mega Bricks, you know, because like that's the ones that make them currently. You know, you can go buy them at Target, and they're fun to make. You know, I have them. Me and my fiance, we build them together. But you know, even though they're amazing, there's nothing wrong with them. I've always thought not Nintendo, but Lego could have done something with that. And with that being said, I am happy to see that they're finally putting a patent on it. I don't know if this means that Mega Bricks won't be able to sell them anymore. I highly doubt that. I think Pokemon and Nintendo are going to let them both sell it and see which one does the best. So we're definitely going to see Lego and Mega Bricks go at it. Obviously, I think Lego's going to win just because Lego is Lego. You know, Lego's fun to build stuff with, so you know, I am looking forward to it. But down below, just let me know how you feel about everything that we discussed. Are you excited for the Legos? Do you think Lysander's going to come back? Do you think that maybe the catacombs are going to play a bit into Lysander? Maybe like that's where Lysander finally pops up, is in the catacombs. Do you think that we're going to get catacombs? Do you guys believe that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to come out before that date of the 26th in June, or do you think of what I believe, and it's going to be a couple weeks after, into into August before they just go ahead and just release it? Again, that's all up to you guys to think and disperse, but I would definitely like to, see what you guys think, just because you guys have been awesome. I appreciate everything you guys have done, not only just for me, but just for the channel in general. I mean, you guys have been amazing, and you don't understand how humble it makes me to know that I have 112 subscribers. Like, I know for some people that may not sound like a lot, but for me it is, because I started this channel back in January. So I am extremely humbled. So with that being said, be a chomp above the rest as always. Have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow, and keep your ears open, because I am going to strictly start uploading more. Look for one tomorrow, because I'm not going to be as sporadic anymore. Since everything's pretty much well moved into the new house. So I look forward to hearing from you. See ya.